Good and bad diets, plus celebrity wedding news. Next, CC.
What he said, what he did, and who paid the price. How Enron's politically connected CEO advised employees to buy company stock while he was selling big. The head hunter of Osama bin Laden declares the whole world isn't big enough to hide him. A CBS News exclusive. Is Saddam Hussein back to making chemical, germ, even nuclear weapons? And mass destruction nature's way. Hundreds of thousands flee a volcano's fiery fury.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. The government pressed its investigation of the collapse of the Enron company on multiple fronts today. There is growing evidence suggesting that a few top politically well-connected Enron executives lined their own pockets while keeping workers in the dark about the threat to the company and their own futures. A new CBS News poll shows that among Americans who have been paying attention to the Enron story, an overwhelming 78% believe Enron executives did wrong. And nearly as many, 77%, think the executives should not have been allowed to sell their stock while preventing workers from selling theirs. CBS's Cheryl Atkinson has more now in our ongoing CBS News independent investigation of the Enron debacle.
More bad news for Enron CEO Kenneth Lay over whether he intentionally concealed the company's dire straits from investors and his own employees. A month after he got explicit warnings from a senior Enron accountant about the company's funny accounting, Lay repeatedly assured Enron workers that the company was at the top of its game. That's according to newly released transcripts of a computer chat he had with employees last September. One employee asks, "How's the third quarter going?" Lay, "The third quarter is looking great. We will hit our numbers. We are continuing to have strong growth." Enron later announced huge third quarter losses of $618 million. Lay also encouraged employees to buy more Enron stock, calling it an incredible bargain. He didn't mention he'd been selling his Enron stock almost every day in June and July, and according to records, hadn't bought any in a month. Another question gets to the heart of Arthur Andersen's involvement in approving questionable partnerships that turned out to conceal huge losses and debt. Lay answers that everyone at Enron and Andersen, including the lawyers, had determined Enron's partnerships were legal and totally appropriate, adding they were even approved at Arthur Andersen headquarters by some of the world's leading experts on these types of financing. For its part, Arthur Andersen says it's adding those transcripts to its ongoing internal review and will take disciplinary action if necessary. Congressional investigators were back at Enron headquarters in Houston for a second day, questioning Rick Causey, Enron's chief accountant. Yesterday, they spoke to Rick Bai, the man responsible for identifying and controlling risks in Enron's trading and investments. Also on the list to be interviewed by civil and criminal investigators, a large number of employees from Andersen, Enron's accounting firm. The question is, did the auditor help Enron devise and hide improper accounting methods, and who gave the order or knew about Andersen's improper shredding of Enron documents? Dan?
Cheryl Atkinson in Washington. Those investigations will also include numerous hearings before Congress, where many members of both parties received Enron campaign donations. But that's just for starters. Enron connections run wide, deep, and high. Heavy money connections all the way to the White House. CBS's Bill Plant is investigating Enron's political fallout.
The administration disclosed today that Vice President Cheney stepped in last June to help Enron and its partners in a dispute with India. Because a U.S. government agency was on the hook for $360 million in guarantees on the Dabhol power project, the White House says Cheney wasn't trying to help Enron, but was looking out for taxpayers' interest. Cheney raised the subject in a meeting with the leader of India's main opposition party. A June 28th email from the National Security Council to the Overseas Private Investment Corporation, known as OPIC, said, "Good news, the Veep mentioned Enron in his meeting with Sonia Gandhi." The effort went on for months. OPIC tried to get the power plant onto the president's agenda for his meeting with India's prime minister November 9th. But after government subpoenas went out to Enron on November 8th, an email labeled "Importance High" warned President Bush cannot talk about Dabhol. The White House was quick to note that it wasn't the first administration concerned about the Dobhold Power Project.
Former Secretary Ron Brown, former Secretary Mickey Cantor, former Secretary Bill Daley, all of the Clinton administration also advocated for the project.
The Bush administration is under fire now, but in fact, Enron's White House connection goes back to the Clinton years. Enron CEO Ken Lay joined a White House discussion of climate change in August 1997. The Clinton administration endorsed emissions trading, something Enron wanted.
People can have their own interpretation of that. There's nothing wrong with Ken Lay coming in and supporting that. We actively sought that. The difference is that was done in public.
Enron board member Robert Belfer attended this 1996 Clinton White House coffee and contributed $100,000 to the Democrats. Overall, Republicans got more money than Democrats, but no matter who was in power, Enron aggressively courted favors.
If you want your phone calls returned and you want to get in the door with a senator or a cabinet secretary, you frankly have got to ingratiate yourself with both parties. Welcome to Washington. That's how it works here.
None of this seems so far to have rubbed off on the president. A CBS News poll today shows fewer than half believe that campaign contributions influenced this administration. And President Bush's support after his first year in office remains higher than that of any president since John F. Kennedy. Dan?
Bill Plant at the White House. The commander of U.S. forces in Afghanistan warned today that Taliban and al-Qaeda holdouts may be plotting a counterattack. General Tommy Franks also told reporters that while Osama bin Laden has eluded capture so far, quote, the world is not large enough for him to hide, unquote. CBS's David Martin has tonight's overview of the war.
In Kandahar, Afghan police set up checkpoints and searched vehicles in an attempt to crack down on the seemingly inexhaustible supply of firearms in Afghanistan. U.S. intelligence has picked up fresh warnings of potential attacks on American troops in Kandahar and elsewhere in Afghanistan. On day 104 of the war, die-hard Taliban and al-Qaeda fighters are still on the loose.
There are a number of potential pockets of resistance, and there are a number of sites, order of magnitude 10 or so at any given point in time, where we'll be focused.
The largest concentration of al-Qaeda fighters is located northeast of Kandahar, where until now only a small number of U.S. Special Forces have been operating. But overnight, 100 Marines and Special Operations Forces landed at a local airfield there to set up a forward operating base. Another major pocket northwest of Kandahar in Mullah Omar's home province appears to have crumbled as large numbers of Taliban fighters have surrendered.
And we have been, for about the past week, in the business of collecting certain weapons and destroying other weapons from those people who turned them in.
The International Red Cross will soon begin interviewing prisoners held at Guantanamo Bay about their treatment. 110 prisoners are there now, with more on the way, including 6 who had been arrested in Bosnia and were about to be freed for lack of evidence. The best-known prisoner, the American Taliban John Walker, is scheduled to be turned over to the FBI this weekend. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
A federal judge in Virginia today ruled against televising the trial of the only man accused so far in the September 11th attacks. Lawyers for defendant Zacchaeus Moussaoui and for news organizations, including CBS News, had called for cameras in the court so the public could see the trial. But the judge ruled this would likely intimidate witnesses and the jury. In Boston today, accused shoe bomber Richard Reed arrived at court and pleaded not guilty to all charges. Reed is accused of trying to set off explosives in his shoes on an American Airlines jet over the Atlantic last month. Reed also denied the government's charge that he was trained to be a terrorist by al-Qaeda. A government-controlled Iraqi newspaper reacted with defiance and denials today to President Bush's latest call for resuming United Nations arms inspections there. It said Iraq has no weapons of mass destruction or programs to develop them. But as CBS's Mark Phillips explains in this exclusive report, an Iraqi defector is telling U.S. officials a very different story.
This man, Adnan Ihsan Saeed al-Haydari, is being listened to very seriously by those seeking to extend the war on terrorism to Iraq.
All of these chemicals that I work is for military.
Al-Haydari is a construction engineer who recently fled Baghdad, and he claims that since UN weapons inspectors were expelled from Iraq in 1998, Saddam Hussein has begun a new crash program to develop biological, chemical, even nuclear weapons. a program of which al-Haidari says he was an unwitting part.
Very, very heavy workers begin, and concentrated workers, and they working day and night.
With an eye toward the U.S. bombing campaign of 3 years ago, al-Haidari says the Iraqis had him build high-tech, leak-proof research and storage facilities in places where they would be hard to find and difficult to destroy, in hospitals, under Saddam Hussein's presidential palaces, deep in wells on farms outside Baghdad.
The storage of these chemicals, maybe in the farm, a simple farm, there's wells there, concrete wells. It's not normal wells.
Unlike the munitions, which are easy for inspectors to check, the wells and other facilities, al-Haidari says, were designed to avoid detection if Saddam ever allows the UN investigators back into the country. It's a highly mobile program, he says, where materials, which he admits he never actually saw, can be moved frequently from place to place, frustrating those looking for them. And a former senior UN weapons inspector says al-Haidari's claims are credible.
What he has described makes sense. All of the locations make sense. They are places where we know that missile and chemical and biological activities were taking place in the past.
The U.S. has often been skeptical of similar Iraqi defectors in the past, but al-Haidari's claims seem so plausible that he's now under the protection of and being questioned by U.S. intelligence officials. Mark Phillips, CBS News, London.
In the Middle East, retaliation for a bloody rampage inside Israel was quick in coming today. Israeli warplanes rocketed a Palestinian security compound and tanks rolled up to Yasser Arafat's headquarters. Just released amateur video shows guests dancing at a family celebration yesterday in northern Israel when an attacker burst in and opened fire. The Palestinian gunman killed 6 partygoers before others rushed him and pushed him outside, where police shot him to death. Hundreds of thousands of refugees are on the move in Central Africa tonight, fleeing not war, but the violence of nature. As CBS's Richard Roth reports, after a quarter century of quiet, an 11,000-foot volcano in eastern Congo has roared back to life.
The eruption of the African volcano was sudden and fierce, and the lava flow's been swift and deadly. In just 24 hours, aid workers on the scene say at least 45 people were killed because they didn't leave their homes. A river of ash and rock 6 feet deep in places is now swamping the town of Goma in the eastern Congo. Fire spreading across the horizon is exploding fuel depots and incinerating supplies of food. Goma's airport has been evacuated, and the only way out for most of the 500,000 people who live here is on foot, a tide of human misery. They were already refugees from civil war and ethnic hatred. Now they're moving toward the border and into Rwanda, where relief workers say there's not enough food or water or shelter, and no guarantee of safety. Migrants once more, this time driven out by nature. Richard Roth, CBS News, London.
Next here on the Friday CBS Evening News, families of victims of the attack on America. Are they now victims of an unfair compensation plan?
We make products that work in your home. We wait until we've got a product that's better than what's out there, that the consumer can see the difference in. Then we'll go to market. It's the duty to our heritage, and it's a duty to our consumer. I'm certain that what we are doing now not only will go into the next generation, but the generation after that.
SC Johnson, a family company.
At Bank of America, we really wanted to participate in the Olympic Winter Games. But in the end, we decided to support the real athletes and stick to the things we do best, like creating the country's largest network of ATMs, so you'll have access to your money at every turn.
You know when you're not feeling like yourself. You're tired all the time. You may feel sad, hopeless, and lose interest in things you once loved. You may feel anxious, can't even sleep. Your daily activities and relationships suffer. You know when you just don't feel right. Now here's something you may not know. These are some symptoms of depression, a serious medical condition affecting over 20 million Americans. While the cause is unknown, depression may be related to an imbalance of naturally occurring chemicals between nerve cells in the brain. Zoloft, a prescription medicine, works to correct this imbalance. When you know more about what's wrong, you can help make it right. Only your doctor can diagnose depression. Zoloft is not for everyone. People taking medicines called MAOI shouldn't take Zoloft. Side effects may include dry mouth, insomnia, sexual side effects, diarrhea, nausea, and sleepiness. Zoloft is not habit-forming. Talk to your doctor about Zoloft, the #1 prescribed brand of its kind. Zoloft. When you know more about what's wrong, you can help make it right.
Diabetes. It's no joke at all. And Louisiana one night, paramedics came sticking me, to test my blood sugar. So I got to be punching my fingers, and this is all I got. These 10 here, this is it. I'm leaving the pain behind me.
One Touch Ultra requires less blood, so you can test on your arm where it's less painful. The One Touch Ultra.
I've been waiting for this for 10 years.
A new air travel security law took effect at the nation's airports today, requiring that all checked luggage be checked for bombs. Most airports said they were able to comply without any extra delays for passengers. Families of victims of the September 11th attacks have been promised help in the form of a government compensation plan. So far, only 167 have filed for compensation out of more than 3,000 who are eligible. As CBS's Jim Stewart reports, many of those who are eligible feel the compensation plan is unfair.
I will begin processing these claims.
If this were a Bible story, Kenneth Feinberg would be King Solomon, and these, the families of September 11th victims, would be his subjects. Only in this story, King Solomon is facing rebellion.
I would rather live off of the little change that I'm going to get from my wife's retirement than to take the insult that you all are offering me.
Feinberg has the seemingly impossible job of compensating the 911 families from a federal fund that has left everyone confused and no one happy.
It's supposed to work this way. In exchange for not suing the airlines that were hijacked and crashed, the surviving family members would be paid for loss of salary, adjusted for the number of dependents minus whatever they received in life insurance. Only sometimes it doesn't add up.
You give me $1.3 million, but you subtract everything, and you subtract that, it comes out to $165. And what you're telling me, my wife, 41 years old, no drinker, no smoker, is only worth $165,000?
No.
And she served her country for 24 years?
No. First of all, she's priceless. I'm not even going to get into that.
Thank you.
Then there was the widow who wanted to know if her unborn child counted.
There's nothing to say that he had a dependent except for me because she's not considered, and she doesn't have a Social Security number yet.
I don't think there's any doubt but that you're covered, that baby's covered. Under the law of Virginia, we'll recognize that.
And no one was happy that if they took the money, they couldn't sue.
You either take this money or else. I mean, for my freshman law classes, that was called blackmail.
It's not blackmail. No one is compelled to participate. Congress made a determination that if the airline industry wasn't bailed out, the airline industry was going into bankruptcy. If you litigate against a bankrupt airline, you'd be lucky to get 2 cents on the dollar.
The only problem is that the government plan is not much more generous, and King Solomon knows it. Jim Stewart, CBS News, Washington.
A defrocked Roman Catholic priest was convicted today of abusing a 10-year-old boy. It was only the start for 66-year-old John Gagan, who faces scores of criminal cases and civil suits. More than 130 people in the Boston area have accused him of molesting them over 30 years. Coming up on tonight's CBS Evening News, getting ready to fork over your personal income taxes? Many big corporations, including Enron, often pay zero. Eye on America tells you why.
This weekend, you have some decisions to make. Come to Blockbuster and pick any 3 movies you want or any 2 video games for just $9.99. Decisions. Choose from the hottest new releases, even on DVD, like American Pie 2, Jeepers Creepers, and The Fast and the Furious. Or choose the coolest video games, like Maximo, Max Payne, and Final Fantasy X. What to do. This weekend, you can't go wrong with 3 movies or 2 video games for just $9.99. Only at Blockbuster.
May I serve the dessert, monsieur?
Yogurt?
New Dannon La Crème yogurt. So good, even for dessert. Creamy, oui.
Creamy. Oui.
Très mild, oui. Not how you say, tart.
It's luscious.
My parents are so weird.
You're home early.
New Dannon La Crème yogurt.
Ooh la la crème.
If you suffer from heartburn caused by acid reflux, get Gaviscon. Gaviscon tablets become smooth and creamy, forming a soothing protective barrier that helps keep acid down. Gaviscon, relief from acid reflux without a prescription.
Working hard or working out, nutrition is important. With Centrum or Centrum Silver, you benefit from what science discovers about how the right multivitamins help unlock energy and strengthen immunity. Centrum and Centrum Silver, always complete from A to Zinc.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today.
I should have used Preparation H.
Preparation H medicated wipes with aloe, the easy way to cleanse, cool, and soothe. Easier because they're 4 times bigger than Tux pads. Preparation H medicated wipes, big relief.
If you have high blood pressure, you know all these cold medicines warn you not to take them. So take their advice. Don't take them. Take decongestant-free Coricidin HBP. Powerful relief that won't raise your blood pressure.
I'll never watch TV instead of doing homework or hide laundry under my bed. I'll be the best dog if you give me what I need.
You've got one chance to raise a healthy puppy. Introducing new Purina One brand large breed puppy formula. Purina has created the first and only puppy foods with a nutrient proven to help reduce the percentage of body fat during growth. So large breed puppies grow lean and healthy. And research shows these puppies need less fat and more love. Purina One, second to none.
Should a suspected terrorist be tortured to make him talk? It won't surprise you who says no. It will surprise you who says yes. 60 Minutes Sunday.
As U.S. taxpayers wait for their W-2 forms to arrive, a new survey indicates the number of Americans who say people should never cheat on their taxes is falling from 87% 3 years ago to only 76% now. 5% of those surveyed said taxpayers should cheat as much as possible. The Enron scandal is encouraging new looks at a growing trend in corporate America, using legal loopholes, including offshore hideouts, to avoid federal income taxes altogether. But legal or not, critics say it is outrageous. As CBS's Mark Strassman reports for tonight's Eye on America.
Enron was America's 7th largest corporation. But 4 of the last 5 years, the company paid not one dime in federal income taxes. To many Americans, that in itself is a scandal.
Whether it's a big corporation or a rich person, if they avoid paying their fair share of taxes, the rest of us get stuck with the bill.
Yet many of America's marquee corporate names pay no federal taxes. Some even get millions in tax rebates. According to a study by the Citizens for Tax Justice, in 1998, from the Fortune 500, 24 corporations reported a total of $12 billion in pre-tax profits. With tax breaks, not only did they avoid the usual 35% tax rate and paid nothing, together they earned another $1.2 billion in tax rebates. That's a difference of $5.5 billion, equal to the total 1998 federal taxes paid by everyone living in these 4 states. Even in pro-business Atlanta, that disparity hits home.
I think big business ought to pay taxes just like the rest of us do.
I pay taxes, and I feel they have a whole lot of money that could contribute to the country.
General Electric tops the study's list of corporate tax avoiders. Nearly $7 billion in tax breaks over 3 years.
Sometimes I think their most important product is tax avoidance, and then they make a few refrigerators on the side.
The numbers are startling, but the tax work is typically legal.
If I were the man on the street, I wouldn't worry.
Penny Allen is a corporate tax lawyer. She says the U.S. tax code designs tax breaks to encourage certain corporate behavior. When Pfizer invests in research for pharmaceuticals, or Microsoft offers tax options to recruit talented people.
Just because some company is paying less in tax than somebody else doesn't mean that we necessarily have something heinous going on.
Whatever's going on, America's mightiest companies are paying less and less in taxes. One of the repercussions from Enron's fall may be a new call for tax reform. In Atlanta, I'm Mark Strassman for Eye on America.
Your doctor says take fiber every day. Which one? Citrusel is different. People prefer its taste 2 to 1 over Metamucil. Citrusel 100% soluble fiber. No gloppy glass, no excess gas. Citrusel in powder and caplets.
If your pencils look like mine did, there's something you can do. Ask your doctor if the Nicotrol inhaler is right for you. Or for more information, call 1-800-INHALER. Call today.
If you're taking aspirin for your heart, there's important news about mixing medication you need to discuss with your doctor. It's been shown that ibuprofen, the pain reliever in Advil and Motrin, in some cases may interfere with the way aspirin works to protect your heart. Don't let another pain reliever interfere with aspirin's life-saving benefits. To relieve tough pain, take extra strength Bayer aspirin. Nothing's proven stronger and more aspirin won't interfere. Bayer, take it for pain, take it for life. Aspirin is not appropriate for everyone, so be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
Moo. Now's a great time to call 1-800-GATEWAY, because right now you can get a free Epson printer, scanner, or Gateway PC camera with the purchase of select desktop computers, like the 500S. It comes fully loaded with an Intel Pentium 4 processor, a 15-inch flat panel display, and CD burner. You get it all for just $11.99 after a $100 mail-in rebate. So just call 1-800-GATEWAY or visit your local Gateway store today. Hurry, offer ends soon.
I'm every man.
And every woman who ever suffered from frequent, persistent heartburn.
If you've treated your heartburn and changed your diet, but it comes back 2 or more days a week, then you may know about the burning pain of acid reflux disease.
But there's something about acid reflux that I didn't know.
Over time, that acid churning up can wear away the lining of your esophagus.
I didn't know.
I didn't know.
I didn't.
But today, there's a purple pill called Nexium. It's from the makers of Prilosec. Just 1 prescription Nexium a day gives many people complete resolution of heartburn symptoms.
That could mean complete heartburn relief.
And importantly, Nexium is also proven to heal erosions in the esophagus caused by acid reflux. Only a doctor can determine if you have this damage. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. The most common side effects of Nexium and Prilosec are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. So talk to your doctor and call this number for more information and for a free trial certificate for Nexium.
Relieve the heartburn, heal the damage. It's possible with today's purple pill called Nexium.
How are the stricter security measures that went into effect today affecting travel time at PDX? We're there with the answers for you at the top of the hour.
In our CBS Evening News endnotes, changing times in American history. The 170-year-old copper beech tree that once gave shade and solace to President Abraham Lincoln has been declared a safety hazard. Experts say the tree on the grounds of the U.S. Soldiers and Airmen's Home is dead and must be taken down. They hope enough living tree material remains to grow a new one. Another change is coming for those with a taste for all things presidential history. For the first time since the September attack on America, the White House will reopen for limited tours next month for school groups only. It's a start and part of our world tonight. Now here's Erin Moriarty with a preview of tonight's edition of 48 Hours.
It's the most popular diet in America, high in protein and controversy.
Everything I do goes against everything we've ever been taught.
Putting the Atkins diet to the test with surprising results. Tonight on 48 Hours.
48 Hours tonight at 10/9 Central. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. See you again soon on 48 Hours.